Hey bros, back at it again, and today we're looking at everything that I loved about the Resident Evil 3 remake which came out this year. This video here is a follow-up to my everything I hated about Resident Evil video that I released last week, which I admit was kind of one-sided in its presentation, so I'm going to take a more balanced approach this time, try to be the pros and cons of each thing, but ultimately it's about what I loved about the game, because there was some shining moments in the game. It wasn't a bad game, don't get me wrong. So yeah, without further ado, here's everything I loved about Resident Evil 3 Remake. First on the list is Jill's new look. Everybody's been complaining about Jill's new look. I understand her outfit is kind of generic now. The use of animation and the use of the RE engine has really brought new life to Jill's face, and the use of a motion capture actor is even better. And I want you guys to tell me honestly that if you saw her on Tinder you wouldn't swipe right, you're all clowning. I also really liked how the opening set piece puts you straight into the action, which is fitting because of Resident Evil 3's more action-orientated style. I know this received a bit of criticism for being too on rails, but it kind of induces a different kind of anxiety compared to the Resident Evil 2 remake. Instead of having a deep sense of dread and tension, you're just overwhelmed and on alert off the bat. And this feeling is consistent with the rest of the game, so I think it's good that the game actually did start this way. Another thing that I really enjoyed was how Carlos was given a much bigger role in the remake. He breaks up the tension with some pretty bang-on banter with Jill, and you know that when he's on screen you're safe. He's given way more personality, and this develops consistently throughout the game, and this is shown both through his actions, what he does, and how Jill views him. She sort of gets a crush on him towards the end, which is fair enough. He's pretty dreamy, objectively. He's no longer your run-of-the-mill Chris Redfield kind of character, and this was a welcome change from the original. My favourite cutscenes in the whole game were the ones down in the train station. Not necessarily because of what was happening in them, just because they looked fantastic. The lighting was real nice, and the facial animations were on point. If there's one thing you can give the remake credit for, it's how well it utilized the brand new RE engine. It's a real big flex by the developer, and credit where credit is due. Adding on to that, the uptown area of the map also looks real nice graphically. It's well lit for a nighttime game, which you can't say for many games, and all of the buildings are really easily distinguishable because of their different designs. The power station was easily one of my favourite parts of the game, bros. It actually pays so much homage to the original. You have the fixed camera angles on the generator, you've got the callback to the bug enemies from the original, the lockpick, and all of this in one area. With so much change from the original in the actual remake, it's nice to have just this one slice of the original game that we can call home. Another thing I really liked about the design of the remake was that the sewers segment was only like 10 minutes. I'll be real with you guys, the sewers were hands down my least favourite section from the remake last year. They were shit, bro. It took too long and nothing happened. That's just my opinion, but I really did not enjoy it. So to see the sewers acknowledged in this game was cool, but I'm definitely glad that it wasn't drawn out into 1/3 of a game that's just pretty much a glorified fetch quest. This part here was really cool actually. It was like a big walk down memory lane. I just wanted to kind of sit there on the fire truck and wait for Leon or Claire to just come out of the police station. I think it's a crossover that we all deserve as fans, to be honest. I also really like the callback to Kendo in this part and the note that you can find in the RE2 remake. In the original game he's a bit of a throwaway character, so it's just nice to see the lore get developed a tiny bit. My favourite character relationship in this game is hands down Carlos and Tyrone. They seem like real bros that actually have a developed history together. Their dialogue feels natural and unique to them, and they have a real sweet work hard play hard kind of vibe, which give the player a break from Jill's whole tough girl act that's been going on for most of the game. One thing that I am kind of bummed about is that Carlos never even acknowledges Tyrone's death at the end of the game, but I guess we can't have everything. Although the boss fights can get kinda repetitive in this game, I like how there are multiple variations of the nemesis and the way you fight him. Comparing this to the Resident Evil 2 remake, where you're just fighting Birkin every time, his attacks are the same, his physique kinda changes, but it's nothing really to change the mechanic of the fight. Each time you fight Nemesis, his attack pattern changes and you need to kind of adapt and overcome to them. This is where I think the roll mechanic was great, because it's something you can get better at each time, and become a better player as a result. Although the sections where I got to play Carlos weren't my favourite, that's just me, the expansion of the hospital section of the map was a welcome addition. It feels more like the police station from the old remake than anything else. It's cool that there's some new enemies there that have clear strengths and weaknesses, but, question bros, does it make Carlos a bit of a simp if he's going through life and death just to save his crush's life? I don't know, man. I really enjoy how this game kind of develops the idea of government conspiracy within corporate America. There's just a second nest that is dedicated to the T-Virus by itself. But actually though, can someone explain to me why there are two nests? I don't know why they didn't just develop both of the viruses in the same facility. Like, I know Umbrella's stacked and they've got so much money, but really? I really like that in the final Nemesis boss fight, you get to use one of Umbrella's huge railgun devices to take out one of its weapons. It's kind of a cool thematic twist where you have a weapon taking out a weapon. It does look kind of cartoonish, I'll admit, just seeing Jill holding it like the Terminator. But nonetheless, it was so satisfying when you get to cram it in its mouth and just see him explode from the inside and get showered with his guts and blood. Although I'm not the hugest fan of them taking away the multiple choice ending where you could save Nikolai if you wanted, I do like how they're trying to show what is canon and what isn't. One of my biggest gripes with the Resident Evil 2 remake was how they did the scenarios. They're close to identical in how they play up, and there's no real indication to what order they should be played for the true story. Another thing I really enjoyed about this remake was how the dodge mechanic had been implemented seamlessly. It really fit the kind of game, and it gives you a chance to escape each time based on skill, rather than whether or not you are lucky enough to have a knife or a flashbang on you like it was the case in the remake last year. So that's it bro, that's everything I loved about the Resident Evil 3 remake. Overall I thought it was a pretty decent game, but it was kinda short. There was a bit of stripped content and it's probably not worth paying full price for, but if you can get it on special it's definitely worth it. Also, can someone in the comments please let me know who this is in the end credits scene? I feel like it might be Rebecca because of the green it's got going on, but it could just be Jill in a different getup, or someone we don't even know, so yeah, just let me know.